In this lesson, I want to focus on XYZ and reference curves. An XYZ curve is a curve where you can input points in XYZ format. So you could have an equation in, say, Excel, output data in a comma or tab delimited format to a text file, and then read them into SOLIDWORKS to create a curve from those XYZ points. Reference curves are curves that just use points available within the model. Without specifying XYZ, you would just pick a point, a vertex, an origin, the endpoint of a line, and make a curve based on those entities. Let's get a better idea of what these things are by opening up an existing file. In your Chapter 3 folder for the working files, open up the XYZ and reference curves SOLIDWORKS part. I'm going to pull open the feature manager a little wider so we can see it and scroll down to the bottom. Got a combination of things going on here, but by selecting on these features, you can see what some of them are. This egg-shaped curve was input from XYZ data. Let's open up the feature and see what it is. Right-click and edit feature. So you can see at the top that the data was read in from a particular file, and this file has the extension SLDCRV, but it was just created in Notepad and given that special extension. You could also create a file right here by keying in points, and remember that if you want to make a closed loop, your last point should be the same as the first. You can key in planar curves or 3D curves. You should remember, though, that a curve is not going to be able to intersect itself. So if the curve goes through the same point twice, the feature will fail. You can find these features on your Surfaces tab of the Command Manager, and then in the Curves drop-down, curve through XYZ points. You should also be aware that these have some limitations when compared to something like a 3D spline. In a 3D spline, you're going to be able to specify tangency at the endpoints. But in a curve, you will not be able to specify any tangency. The next type of curve is the curve through reference points. And let's start a new one here. Hit the drop down and curve through reference points. You can see we've got several entity types on the screen, and I can click on a sketch point, on a surface vertex, on the origin. In practice, I have not used very many of these types of curves, since I prefer to use 3D splines to achieve the same thing and have more flexibility and control. Another type of curve that you'll want to take a look at is under Tools, Sketch Entities, Equation-Driven Curve. Now remember that this is not really a curve feature. This is just a sketch on a 2D plane. So I'll select a plane, and you can enter in your equation in one of two formats, explicit or parametric. Let's enter in an explicit equation. So y of x can be an equation in quadratic form. So let's enter 5 times x squared plus 2 times x minus 4. And the parameters are just the beginning and ending values of x. So here I'll enter in -4 and 12. And SOLIDWORKS draws us this parabola based on the equation that we've written. Notice again that this is a sketch spline. You can move this to transform the function anywhere you'd like. In fact, if you lock one end down, you should be able to also rotate the function. These are things that you wouldn't be able to do if this were a curve feature, but because it's a sketch, it makes it easier to do.